We continue now at the top of Daf Chesam and Aleph in Mesechet Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 8a. On the previous summit, the Gemara recorded an incident that a person who used to host Rav, he wanted Rav to judge a case for him. And Rav now says, Psilna loch ledina, I am now disqualified to judge this case for you because you've done a favor for me. And the Gemara continues, Amarle Rav Rav Kahana. So Rav said to Rav Kahana, Pok Daina, you should go out and judge him, again, because I am not able to. And Chazian, so Rav Kahana saw Dahavik Hagoyes Bey, that he was arrogant, this person was haughty, because he thought that he was friendly to Rav, and therefore he's going to get a good judgment. And so Amar Le, so Rav Kahana said to this individual, to this person who had hosted Rav, if you listen to the judgment that I issue, then good, you listen. Vilo, but if not, Mafikna lach Rav me'onech, I'm going to take Rav out from your strength or from your ear. Various translations. Rashi over here explains, Psilna loch shes kartani tovascha. Again, you've mentioned the favors that you have done for me, and therefore I'm disqualified for judging your case. Chazi Rav Kahana lo gavra, and Rav Kahana saw this particular person to have a goyes beba Rav, that he was very comfortable, that he was friendly with Rav, and somechu voteach alav u'medaber gavos, and he was relying on the fact that he was friendly with Rav, and he was speaking arrogantly, and so therefore he said, Mafikna loch Rav me'onech, I'm going to take Rav, I'm going to take from you his strength, meaning to say, Odiyacha, I'm letting you know right now, she'ein Rav yachol esayach, that Rav is not going to be able to help you, to mishamtina loch, because I'm going to excommunicate you. And the Gemara continues to darshan the psukim from Sefer Devarim. The pasuk says, "Kakoton kagodol tishmon." You should hear the small and the large cases. And the Gemara says, "Amar Reish Lakish." Reish Lakish says, "Shehei chaviv alecha din shel pruta gedin shel mea mana." That it should be as beloved to you a case involving one pruta as a case involving 100 mana. And the Gemara says, "Lamai hilchasa." For what practical halacha was Reish Lakish stating this? Ileima liiyune beyu mifsakef. What he means to say is that you're supposed to look into such a case and judge it properly. So pshit, of course you're supposed to do that. Why should you take a case involving a small amount of money any less seriously? Ella, rather, what it means to say is la'akdume. It means to say in terms of precedence that if that case comes to you first, even though it's a smaller amount of money, you have to take that case first. Rashi explains, that you're going to judge it truthfully. So the Gemara said, again, that's too obvious. And so the Gemara said, it means in terms of precedence. In din shel pruta, let's say there's a court case involving a pruta that comes before you. And then another case comes to you that involves a mana, a larger amount of money. Still, the one that came to you first, that's the first one that you should take. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says, Lo saguru mipnei ish ki hamishpad le'elokimhu. It says that the judgment, that belongs to God. And the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Chanina says, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Lo dayin l'rishayim shenotlin mizeh mammon v'nosnim lazeh. It's not enough that the wicked, they take away money from one person, and it's not just, and they give it to another person. Shalo kedin, they do that in an unjust manner. Elishamatrich and osi, but they also burden me. Lahachzir mammon labaylev. Now I have to go, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and return the money to its proper owner. That's what it means when it says in the pasuk, Ki hamishpat le'elokimhu. And Rashi explains, Ki hamishpat le'elokimhu, Ki ilu ata danu motzi mammon mi'ad HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's like the pasuk is saying, as if your judgment has caused money to come out of the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sharei olav lahachzir mammon labaylev, because it's upon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's his responsibility, so to speak, to return that money to its proper owner. And the Gemara continues, the pasuk says, V'hadavar asher yiksha mikem, Moshe Rabbeinu says, that which is too difficult for you to judge, you bring it to me. And the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Chanina v'itayim Rabbi Yoshi. Rabbi Chanina says, and some say Rabbi Yoshi says, Al davar zed nenash Moshe. For saying this, Moshe was punished. Rashi explains, Al davar zed shenat al surara liatzmo lomar takrivon al elai. He took a certain amount of authority upon himself, saying, bring those cases to me. Shahaya lo lomar takrivon lefnei hashchina. What he should have said was, bring those cases in front of the Shechina. And so therefore, again, he was punished for making that statement. As the Gemara continues, again, Al davar zed nenash Moshe shenemar. As it says in the pasuk, Vayakrev Moshe's mishpaton lefnei Hashem. It says that Moshe brought their case in front of Hashem. This is talking about the case of the Benos Tzlafchad. And Rashi explains, Nenash Moshe shelo zacha shelo nemar lo parshas nachalos at shabam ma'aseh lefanav. It means to say that he did not merit to be able to say over the laws of inheritance until an actual incident came before him. V'lo yoda ma'lo Hashem, and he didn't know what the answer was. And so again, that's why it said over there that Vayakrev Moshe's mishpaton lefnei Hashem. But the Gemara continues, Maskefla Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak asks on this, Michsiv v'ashmiachem, does Moshe Rabbeinu say that I'm going to tell you what the law is? Ushamativ ksiv, it just says that he's going to hear the case. It doesn't say that he's going to know the answer himself. Igamirna gamirna, he's going to say that if I learned it, if I know the answer, then I learned it. V'lo, and if not, does lina v'gamirna, then I'm going to go and I'll learn it from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what's wrong with the statement that he made? Why should he be punished? And so the Gemara continues, Ella, rather the explanation of what happened by the parsha of Nachala is Kidatanya. It's like we learned in a Brisa, Ru'uya Parshas Nachalos, really the laws of inheritance. It was fitting Shatichtav al Yedei Moshe Rabbeinu. They should have been written through Moshe Rabbeinu. Ela shezach b'no Slavchad v'nichtav al Yadin. But the b'no Slavchad, the daughters of Slavchad, they had merits, and therefore it was written through the case that came because of them. And similarly, Ru'uya Haisa Parshas Mekoshesh Shatichasev al Yedei Moshe Rabbeinu. Also the parsha of the Mekoshesh, the one who gathered, that was talking about the violation of Shabbos, that also should have been written through Moshe Rabbeinu. Ela shenischayim Mekoshesh, but the Mekoshesh was found guilty v'nichtav al Yado, and therefore was written through him. L'lamedcha, and this comes to teach you shemegalgal in chov al yedei chayev, that guilt is engendered through the guilty, u'zechus and merit al yedei zakai, through those who are innocent. And the Gemara continues, Ksiv, it's written in the pasuk, V'atzaves shoftechem bo'esahi, it says that I instructed your judges, Uchsiv, but then it's written, V'atzave eschem bo'esahi, that I instructed you. It seems to be a contradiction within the psukim. And the Gemara continues, Amar Reb Elazar, Amar Reb Simloi, Reb Elazar says that Reb Simloi says, Azhara l'tzibor shetei emas dayon alehen, it's a warning to the community that the fear of the judge should be upon them. V'azhara l'dayon sheyizbol es hatzibor, and it's also a warning to the judge that he should be able to carry the burden of the community, of the congregation. And the Gemara says, Ad kama, how much of a burden does he have to carry? Amar Rabbi Chanan v'itemer Rav Shavsoi. Rabbi Chanan says, and some say Rav Shavsoi says, Kasher yiso menes hayonek, just as the nursing father carries the child. And Rashi explains, Ksiv v'atzaves shoftechem, it's written, I instructed your judges, mashmes chachomeim hizir lahadrich tzibor b'mishpat v'achukim al karchim. That sounds like he's warning the sages that they have to lead the people in the laws against their will. Uchsiv v'atzavescha, but then it's written that I instructed you, that tzibor atzmam hizir, that Moshe Rabbeinu gave the warning directly to the community. Uma hutzrach la'aziran, so why does he have to warn them? And so again, the Gemara then explained that there's a warning to the community to fear the judges, and there's also a warning to the judges to carry the burden of the community. And the Gemara continues, Ksiv, it's written in the pasuk, Ki ata tavo, Moshe Rabbeinu says to Yoshua that you're going to go together with the people into the land of Eretz Yisrael. Uchsiv, but yet it's also written, Ki ata tavi, that you're going to bring them as if you're going to bring them against their will. How do we interpret this contradiction? And the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Amar lo Moshe li Yoshua. Moshe said to Yoshua, Atava hazikeinim shebedori mohim, you're going to go together with the sages of the generation, you're going to lead them all together. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but then HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, he said to Yoshua, Tol Makil, take a staff, v'hachal kodkodam, and hit them over the heads, because dabar echad lador, there has to be one leader for a generation. Vein shnei dabar and lador, you can't have two leaders for a generation. And the Gemara continues, Tana was taught Zimun Bishlosha, that Zimun is with three people. And the Gemara says, My Zimun, what does it mean in this Brisa when it says Zimun? The Gemara says, Ilema Bircha Zimun. If you say it means the bracha of Zimun when we're benching, Vatanya, but we learned in another Brisa, Zimun Ubirchas Zimun Bishlosha. It says Zimun, and Bircha Zimun is with three. That sounds like Zimun is not the same as Bircha Zimun. Now, if you're going to say that the Brisa is simply explaining, My Zimun Bircha Zimun, the Brisa is saying, what is Zimun? That's a reference to Bircha Zimun. Vatanya, but yet we learned in another Brisa, Zimun Bishlosha, Bircha Zimun Bishlosha. It says Zimun is with three people, and Bircha Zimun is with three people, and there clearly it's not explaining what Zimun is, because it says Bishlosha twice. So what exactly is Zimun referring to? And so the Gemara continues, Elamai Zimun, rather, what is Zimun? It means Azmune Ladin. What it means is that when you're summoning a person to come to court. Kihadi Amar Rav, it's like what Rava said, Hani veit losa dayoni de yasvi, va'ozil shlicha de veidina. Let's say you have three judges and they're sitting and they send out, and out goes an agent of the court, v'yamar mipuma dechad, and he gives the message, but just, he gives that message from only one of the judges, he doesn't give it in the name of all three, lo amar klum, so then he has said nothing. Adiyamar mishmei dekula, with the message that he's delivering, he has to say it in the name of all of them. And the Gemara continues, now hani mili below yoma dedina, now that's all true if it's not the day of judgment, if it's not actually the court date. Avol biyoma dedina, but on the day of the court, on the court date, les lanba, so then it's not an issue, then even if he says it in the name of one of the judges, that is sufficient. And Rashi explains, Yoma Dedina, the day of the court, that's Sheni v'Chamishi, that's on Mondays and Thursdays, Takonas Ezra hi b'Bava Kama, that's a Takona from Ezra that is found in Bava Kama. Azmune Ladina, when one is summoned to court, Bezdin Shesholchen Shlucham Lebal Din, what's happening is the court is sending their agent to the litigant, Shetzoakim Olav Lovo Velodin Lifneim, that they're saying he has to come for the judgment. So Tzarech Hashliach Lazmino B'Shem Shlashtan. So then the agent, he has to summon them in the name of all three of them. But V'Yamar Mishmei Dechad, if he says it in the name of just one of them, Ploni Dayon Mazmincha, if he says so-and-so judge, he is the one that is summoning you, Lo Amar Klum, that's nothing, V'Lo Azil Lo Meshamtina Le, if he wouldn't come based on that, we would not necessarily excommunicate him. But again, then the Gemara went on to say that if it's the day of the court, as Rashi said, on Monday or Thursday, so then even if it's in the name of one judge, it's clear that it's coming from an assembled Bezdin, and therefore he does have to come, he has to answer the summons. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said Tashlume Kefil, when it comes to the double payment, that is with three judges. And the Gemara says Shalach le Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda le Rav Nachman bar Yaakov. Rav Nachman bar Rav Chisda sent to Rav Nachman bar Yaakov, Yilamdeinu Rabbeinu, teach us our Rebbe, Dine Knossos Bekama, when it comes to judgments that involve Knas, that involve fines, how many judges are needed? And the Gemara says, "My kami boile." What's even his question? Hanon tanan b'shlosh. It says in our Mishnah that it's three judges. And so the Gemara says, "Elo yachid mumcha kami boile." His question is, what about if you would have one judge, but that judge is a mumcha, is an expert? Doin dine knasos olo, is such a judge on his own able to judge cases of knas or not? Amar Lei said back to him, Tani Sua, we learned that answer in our Mishnah. Tashlumei Kefil v'tashlumei arba v'chamisha b'shlosh. It says, again, Tashlumei Kefil, the double payments and the payments of 4 and 5 times the amount, these kind of knossos are with three judges. Now, my shlosha, now what kind of three judges are we talking about? Ilema shlosha yotos. If you say that, it means to say three regular people who are not mumchin, who are not experts. Ha'amar avua da'avuch mishmei d'Rav. But the father of your father said in the name of Rav, afilu asara. Even if you have 10 judges, v'hein had yotos, and the regular people, psul and ladinei knossos, they're disqualified when it comes to cases involving fines. So ela mumchin, rather it must be that the Mishnah means to say mumchin, that these three judges are experts. V'kamar shlosh, and it's saying that we need three. One judge would not be enough. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, "V'chachamim omrim." The Chachamim say motzi shemra be'esrim u'shlosha, that by motzi shemra cases, those are tried with 23 judges. And Ravi Meir again, he said in the Mishnah that it's tried with 3 judges. And Rashi here explains, this Rashi is really relevant to the Mishnah itself. Hamotzi shemra lo matzasi levitcha besulam. That's when a husband claims that I didn't find that your daughter was a basula, she was not a virgin, and so therefore he's essentially accusing her of adultery. Ubala hafsida ksubas, and he's trying to make her lose her ksuba with this claim. Rashi over here is pointing out that it's a monetary case. Velo laharga, he's not trying to have her killed for adultery. She'ino mevi edim shazin satachtav, he's not bringing witnesses that she committed adultery while they were married. Dia nefashos kaasi, because if this was a capital case, if he was trying to get her killed, lo amar Ravi Meir b'shlosha, certainly Ravi Meir would not say 3 judges. So it has to be that when the Mishnah has this machlokus between Ravi Meir and the Chachamim, we're talking about a situation of motzi shemra that is just a monetary case. And so the Gemara continues, just because there is some cases of motzi shemra which can involve dinei nefashos, why is it that the Chachamim say, therefore, you have to have 23 judges, even in a situation that only involves a monetary claim? And the Gemara continues and explains, Amar Ula says, B'chosheshin lelaz kamiflagi. The machlokas between Rabbi Meir and the Chachamim is whether we're concerned that rumors will spread and that will cause witnesses to come forth. Rabbi Meir savar ein chosheshin lelaz. Rabbi Meir holds that we're not concerned that the rumors will spread and cause witnesses to come, and therefore we can just try this like a regular monetary case. For Rabbanan Savri chosheshin lelaz, but the Rabbanan, they hold no. If the case is going to be tried as a monetary case, but rumors might spread, witnesses might come that she did in fact commit adultery, and this will turn into a capital case, and therefore the Rabbanan say that we require 23 judges. And the Gemara continues, Rava Amar, Rava says, Kuli almo lelaz lo chashtin, and everybody agrees we're not concerned that these rumors will spread and that witnesses might come. V'hacha b'choshen l'chvodan shal rishonim kamiflgi. Here actually the machlokas is whether we're concerned for the honor of those first judges. V'hacha b'mayaskinan, and here what is the case? Kigon de'ichnif be'esrin utlasa l'meidan din nefashos. What actually happened was, we originally gathered a court of 23 judges because it was originally a capital case, but then those judges disbanded, they weren't able to find any evidence. V'yamar lahu, and then the husband says to them, Dainu limia dinei mamanis. He says, well, at least let's have a case of dinei mamanis, witness a monetary case, and so then the machlokus is, do we say that these same judges, they should continue? That's what the Chachamim say, because we are concerned about the kavod of these first judges, that we should use them since we already assembled them for that first capital case. And Rabbi Meir says that's not a concern, and therefore the monetary case will be judged by just 3 judges. And Rashi explains, V'chachamim omrim, again, this is the Chachamim in the Mishnah, Mimnei sheyesh bo din nefashos, they say 23 judges because it involves capital issues. Kasal gadaitach d'hachi kamri. Now, initially, the Gemara thinks that what they mean is as follows: Mishum di'ika motzi shemer d'shayich bei din nefashos, since there could be some cases of motzi shemer which are capital cases. Uchegon shemei v'edim, for example, if there be witnesses. Uvegemar parchin, and that's why the Gemara right here asks, V'chiyesh bo din nefashos may have it. Just because there are some cases that can involve din nefashos, what difference does that make? Hashtam yolav din nefashos hu deleka edim. Right now, it's not a case of din nefashos because there are no witnesses. Rabbi Meir savar ein choshen lalaz, and so then again the Gemara said Rabbi Meir, he's not concerned that the word will spread ein choshen shema k'sheyavo lebezdin v'yotza kol yishmu edim v'yavo v'yoidu shazin satachtav. We are not concerned that when they come to court and the word goes out, then witnesses will hear about this and they'll come testify that there was adultery. V'achshav ein habal yodea behen, and it's just that right now the husband doesn't know that those witnesses exist. V'tiboy chav gimel, and therefore we should maybe require 23 judges to shema yavo lidei din nefashos, because maybe it will turn into a capital case. But Rabbanan Savri Choshen, and the Rabbanan say we are concerned that it might turn into a capital case, and therefore we have 23 judges. And then the Gemara said that everybody agrees there's no concern for laws. And therefore, if the husband initially is not bringing witnesses, he's just coming himself, will have sida ksubas in order to make her lose her ksuba. Modu Rabbanan de Vishlosha. According to this explanation, then the Rabbanan would admit that we would just use 3 judges. But here the case is they already gathered 23 judges. Because the husband said he was going to bring witnesses that there was adultery, but then he didn't find the witnesses. And so then the judges separated, they disbanded. And then the husband says, look, since I don't have witnesses, at least let's have a case with 3 judges. Dinei mammon is a monetary case. That she should lose her ksuba through what the husband himself is saying. Because we have established that the Chachamim say the general ksuba for a basula for a virgin is 200 moneh, is 200 dinar, and for an almana for a widow is 100 dinar. And the Chacham actually trusted the husband to make her lose out on that ksuba because there's a chazaka, there's a presumption that a person doesn't go through all of this bother to make the feast for the wedding and then end up making her lose out. Rabbi Meir savar b'shlosha dein choshen l'chavad harishonim. Rabbi Meir says we use 3 judges. We're not concerned with the honor of those first judges, and therefore v'danin afila b'shlosha, we can do this case. We can judge this case even with 3 judges. But the Rabbanan are concerned with the honor of those first judges, those 23 judges, and therefore all are required. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Ches Amid Beis.